It's an orange juice.
What's up everyone, this is Orange Juice. The clone spell is unlocked in Frozen Peak. When the spell comes out, you can buy the special offer for 400 gems. This brings it up to level 3. It scales like the old mirror did, so at tournament standard, all cloned units are the same. Leveling up the card will make cloned units deal more damage. So if you have a level 3 clone spell, and you clone a level 1 baby dragon, the clone baby dragon will deal the damage of a level 3 baby dragon. The reverse is also true. For example, if my original musketeer is level 8, and my clone spell is level 4, the cloned musketeer will deal the damage of a level 7 musketeer. All cloned units don't have a spawn time, they last forever, but they do only have 1 hit point. That means you can counter this spell very easily with splash cards like Wizard, Arrows, or even a Zap. It's a spell that can be cast anywhere on the map. It does not clone enemy units, it only clones your own units except for buildings. Spells cannot be cloned, including the log. It's a spell, so the wood will not clone. When you clone a unit, it temporarily suspends the unit as they're being cloned. This means that they'll stop moving, and they'll stop attacking for the moment that they're splitting up. It will reset unit charge attacks like Prince, Sparky, or Inferno Dragon. If the original target remains within range of the tower, it will continue hitting that target, leaving the clone untouched. Imagine a unit coming out of freeze. Your enemy tower will still be targeting it, but your unit will begin targeting the nearest unit. So if a world giant is frozen or cloned, and a new building is placed in front of it, it'll target that building instead. Just like freeze spell, if you clone a Sparky, it completely resets her attack. Spells work incredibly well against clones. Fireball, Zap, Arrows, Poison, or Tornado works great against the clones. Units will retain all of their mechanics when cloned. A cloned witch will spawn skeletons. Those skeletons will have 1 health, but will deal full damage. Casting the clone spell will always push the real units to the left, and the cloned units will spawn on the right side. This will happen anywhere on the map. Knowing how this works is pretty important. If the clone runs towards the tower first, it'll just die. So on the left lane, it's better if your units are closer to the right side of the bridge before casting clone spell, so that the first unit to cross the river is the original unit. The same is also true in the right lane. Since the real unit is always pushed to the left side, it's better to cast the clone spell if the original unit is standing on the right side of the bridge. In this entire video, I'll refer to this mechanic as clone skipping. You can take advantage of this mechanic to bypass a building. Normally a 4-1 plant will pull the balloon. Using the spell on the left lane, you can clone skip the balloon away from the building and straight to the arena tower. You can clone skip with other units too. If you want to split lanes with clones, planting a unit near the center will skip the real unit to the left. A cloned Ice Spirit will freeze units for the full duration of 1.5 seconds. On the topic of freeze, if your unit is frozen and you clone it, the duplicate unit will not be frozen. This can be an advantage if your opponent uses freeze defensively, like if there's 2 seconds left in the game and they're trying to stop your balloon. The spell will only clone what's physically on the map, so if you originally played a minion horde and there's only 1 minion left, it'll only duplicate that last standing minion. The cloned Ice Wizard's attack will deal full damage, maintain its splash attack, as well as slow units by 35%. The same with the Ice Golem's Death Nova. It'll slow units by 35% as well as deal the full 70 death damage. In the same regard as the Ice Wizard, a cloned princess will retain her insane range and full splash damage. The Ice Golem is the clone spell's worst enemy. Its death damage annihilates all clones within its proximity. If you mirror a clone spell, it won't duplicate any clones. It'll only duplicate the real unit, resulting in 2 clones. So if you wanted to play a gimmicky deck, the best way to do that is to first mirror the card, then clone them for quadruple the madness. But it's rare that you would want to do this since the clones have 1 health. Here's where it gets really cool. Clone guards and Dark Prince will retain their shield. That means they can survive a rocket. But their shield will still have 1 hit point. So a clone Dark Prince will die in 2 shots. Because a clone shield also has 1 health, An ideal spell counter against cloned units with shield is poison or tornado. A cloned lumberjack will drop a rage spell when it dies. Rage spells do not stack. Having multiple rage spells on top of each other do not stack. The boost remains at 35%. On the topic of unit death drops, a cloned balloon and giant skeleton do drop a bomb that deals full damage. Cloning a giant skeleton in the heat of a battle usually means that the clone dies immediately, which can be good if you want to set off the bomb right on the spot. As I mentioned earlier, cloned units are always pushed to the left. You can use this to your advantage to manipulate pathing. For a giant skeleton, it's pretty easy to kite them with an ice golem. You just plant the ice golem in the other lane, and it'll chase it all the way to the other side. When I use the clone spell with the giant skeleton to prevent kiting, it's not even about cloning him. The most important aspect here is that clone skipping the giant skeleton cancels out the kiting. On certain occasions, he'll beeline straight to a structure like a pre-planted cannon. In this case, I used the spell to clone skip the giant skeleton all the way to the left, avoiding the cannon pathing. The giant skeleton went straight to the tower, finishing it off. With the balloon, a similar concept can be applied. The optimal building placement to counter a balloon is to plant it on the edge, 4 tiles from the river, and 1 tile from that arena tower. But with the spell, you can clone skip and push it all the way to the left and away from the tower. This is only effective on the left lane of your map since the real balloon always goes left. Keep in mind that your opponent's left lane is your right lane. So you have the left lane advantage, while your opponent will have right lane advantage. This isn't limited to these units either. You could theoretically do this with any other unit like a hog. You could pig push a hog, then clone skip him to bypass even a 4-2 building plant. Another interesting benefit to clone skipping is dodging units. Here the balloon was cloned, which pushed it away from my mega minion and allowed it to reach the tower. Another unit to benefit from the clone spell is a golem. Unlike what other videos have indicated, these cloned units will pop babies when they die. The cloned golems and its golemites will deal death damage as well. For Lava Hound, it's the deadliest. The cloned hound will pop lava pups. As soon as the hound reaches the tower, it's a really good idea to clone it, because if it pops, the original Lava Hound will continue tanking for the clone pups. Sometimes it's not even about cloning the strongest cards. It's a struggle to get even one giant skeleton to reach the tower. Here, Mana caught me by surprise when he cloned his archers, and they ended up dealing over 1,000 damage to my tower. Overall, the clone spell can be used in very creative ways, similar to how our tornado has very unique abilities, like how it can force a hog to activate the king's tower. This spell has a lot of potential. It's going to take a while to learn how to use. It's vulnerable to ice golems, spells, and splash units. When I used the deck with guards, dark prince, witch, or a giant skeleton, I found that it was really high cost to build up a death ball. And once I built up a really strong push, tornado would just take out my entire cloned army. Since the tornado lasts 3 seconds, it even took out the guards and the dark prince's shields. One of the absolute best counters to this card is poison, just because it offers area denial. For the entire 10 seconds of the push, planting a clone spell will result in dead clones immediately. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe you want to clone skip your hog to bypass the cannon so that he can go straight to the arena tower. Or you just want to clone a giant skeleton to detonate its bomb early. If they don't have a poison spell but you know that your clone is gonna die immediately, maybe you just want to spawn instant lava pups by having your hound pop early. While testing this card, I found that there were some occasions where I needed extra firepower, so I'd need to clone the units on my side just to defend. If there's a baby dragon defending your attack, there's no way you're going to be able to clone anything and have it survive in your push without it dying immediately. When using the clone spell, I found that most decks had Zap and Ice Golem, and it was really hard to clone Minion Horde unless those cards were out of rotation. Sometimes it feels like a rage spell. You only use it when you're winning, so that you can win even harder. There's so many ways to use this spell, but I think one of the best aspects of the spell is that it can clone skip units to bypass buildings. The only problem is that it costs 3 elixir, so it's a bit costly to clone skip. We look forward to seeing some cool clone combos people can come up with, maybe even crazier tech than clone skipping. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more quality OJ. Positive elixir trade.